Right now, Eric Garner's family is speaking in Brooklyn after meeting with Department of Justice attorneys. A source familiar with the case of Garner's death tells CBS News that federal prosecutors will not file civil rights charges against NYPD Officer Daniel Pantaleo in the death of Garner. Tomorrow marks 5 years since his death. Let's go and listen in to what the family has to say, accompanied there with Al Sharpton.
To my left is Gwen Carr, mother of Eric Garner. To her left is his widow, Esau Snipes Garner, Garner Snipes. His children, Emerald, Eric, his sister Alicia, all of whom just met with the U.S. Attorney to be told what was a moral disgrace and judicial malpractice, that the federal government will not be making charges. This case, 5 years tomorrow after the killing of Eric Garner, on tape, I reminded them that 22 years ago, the Eastern District prosecuted and incarcerated a man for sodomy and rape, a policeman of Abner Louima. 22 years later, with a video evidence, they're going to let a man walk free, which threatens the civil rights of every citizen in this district. With a video, with people saying what happened, with us audibly hearing 11 times, "I can't breathe." This decision says that the federal civil rights are not protected no matter what the evidence may be. We promised this family from day one 5 years ago we'd be with them. That 2 days later, we led thousands in Staten Island. We will continue to. But let me make it clear. This city and nation should thank the Garner family, because in 5 years, this case started the resurgence of police accountability. This case brought to the forefront Black Lives Matter and no justice, no peace. This case was 3 weeks before Michael Brown and Ferguson. In fact, the day Michael Brown was killed, they brought me the phone and I went to Michael Brown's parents. It was 3 weeks into this case. Yet this family never advocated and never had one brick thrown, not one piece of property damage. The city has never given credit for the impeccable nonviolent protest this family has led. And the thanks they get is the day before the anniversary of this pain that they've had to suffer. A day after his mother and his son and us went to his gravesite to be smacked in the face by this decision. 5 years ago, Eric Garner was choked to death. Today, the federal government choked Lady Justice. And that is why we're outraged. But it's not over. This is one chapter, but don't close the book. Daniel Pantaleo must be fired and must be fired immediately. The judge hearing that case should not give them time for him to resign and leave with pension, or to ask for a re-examination that now he is free to testify without worrying about the feds. They ought to move swiftly. Some are asking the governor to fire the mayor. No, the mayor should fire Pantaleo. And that should happen immediately. There's nothing standing in the way of that happening but people not standing up for justice. And that's what we come out of here calling for. Show you're better than the Trump administration. Don't let a man continue to be on the public payroll one more day. 1 more hour. We'll hear from Gwen Carter, mother of Eric Garner.
Good morning, everyone. We're here with heavy hearts because the DOJ has failed us. Although we look for better from them. 5 years ago, my son said, "I can't breathe" 11 times. And today we can't breathe because they have let us down. We have been on the forefront. We have followed it up. We had to go. We had to fight. This is not an easy fight, but we kept on pushing. And make no mistake about it, we're going to still push. You could push back, but we're pushing forward because this is not the end. And we're asking the commissioner to make the right decision. That Officer Pantaleo and all the officers who was involved in my son's death that day need to be off the force. The streets of New York City is not safe with them walking around. 5 years ago, it was me. It was my family. Today or tomorrow, it could be your family. You are New York City residents. You're not infallible. You must remember that. But you know, I take it to God. I think he sits high and he looks low. We may not never know justice in the DOJ, but I think there will be justice. And we're going to keep fighting, and we're going to keep fighting. We're not going away, so you can forget that. You think it's swept under the rug? No, it's not going to be swept under the rug, because I'm out here. You all know my face, and you're going to see it even more now. Because this is an outrage, an insult to injury. You killed my son, and you won't get away with it. I stood quietly by for 5 years. I'm not being quiet anymore. And I ask all the supporters to support me. Thank you.
We'll hear from Emerald, his daughter.
As you all can tell, I'm very angry. I am very angry. I stand here in the spirit of my sister, who fought for justice until her dying day for my father, standing outside protesting. She called the CCRB to do this investigation, and they didn't do their job. We called the Department of Justice. They didn't do their job. So no, I'm going to stand outside and I'm going to scream it. Pantaleo needs to be fired. He needs to be fired. There is no waiting. There is no nothing. The statute of limitation ends tomorrow. Eric died 7/17/14. We're 7/16/19. 5 years later and there's still no justice. So no, there won't be no calm. No, there won't be no peace. No justice, no peace. I'm here for Alyssa, I'm here for Kaylee, and I'm here for EJ. They have to watch their grandfather be killed on TV every time the news comes on. They have to watch as we go through this, and we are emotional because we have to be strong for these children. So no, we will not rest. No, we will not be calm. De Blasio, what's up? When are you going to fire this officer? You have the evidence. You have the evidence. And more evidence than we ever knew got released in this trial. A lot of information that we didn't even know was released in the trial. So where's the justice? Don't apologize to me. Fire the officer. Don't give me your condolences. I heard that 5 years ago. We want justice and we want it today. By 5 o'clock, they should be letting us know something. Something. Because coming in here, bringing us here in a roundtable talk just to say, after you already released your decision that you apologize, your condolences, no. We've been quiet for way too long. My sister died fighting for justice. You won't kill me. You won't kill me. That's it.
You know, they were telling us that the statute of limitations run out tomorrow. But as I know the law book, there's no statute of limitations for murder. Am I right or wrong? There's no statute of limitations. And that was murder that they did to my son.
Well, just a minute. Attorney Jonathan Moore can address the legal part of the meeting.
I think the failure of 5 attorney generals and 3 U.S. attorneys in the Eastern District to bring a case for the death of Eric Garner is a shame. It's a national disgrace. And it's an issue of national importance. And everybody running for president should have to take a position on whether it's a just result in this case. All the Democrats, all the Republicans, they should have to take a position. Because this case is not dead. Under the federal civil rights laws, there is no statute of limitation for a conspiracy to violate somebody's civil rights that results in a death, or a deprivation of rights under color of law that results in death. 18 U.S.C. 241, 18 U.S.C. 242. Look it up. This case is not over, and the next president and the next attorney general will be presented with these same set of facts, and we hope that they do the right thing, because we will not rest until there's justice for Eric Garner and his family.
Can you walk us through who was at the meeting and what did they say? What was
The meeting was with Gwen Carr, Alicia, the sister of Eric Garner, the wife, the widow, and 2 of his children, Emerald, Eric Jr., myself, Attorney Michael Hardy, Attorney Jonathan Moore. And basically, when he came in, the family said, we already have been looking at social media. You've already announced you're not going to, so why go through a long ritual? And the attorney, U.S. attorney said, we want to give our sympathy, and one of the children said, we don't want your sympathy, we wanted justice. And then Gwen addressed him, and Alicia addressed him. These have been city employees, by the way, church people. And we talked about how we have operated in a belief that the system would do right, and it didn't. And that was the end of the meeting.
Reverend Sharpton, what reason did they give you for not filing the civil rights charges?
They did not give a reason. What reason can you give? They said that he is the 3rd U.S. attorney on this, the 5th attorney general. How much do you have to investigate when a child can look at that video? I can't breathe 11 times. So are we saying Eric Garner didn't have the civil right to breathe on that street that day? They gave no legal reason, just their sympathy, and they'd already released to the press what they were going to do.
What actions do you plan moving forward?
Pantaleo must be fired. The move right now, the family has decided, is to go forward to expedite. We do not want to give them wiggle room for him to resign with pension or to try and reopen the police trial where he can testify. They need to move right away.
Fire him today.
That was planned for the memorial. Yeah, we had no idea they were going to come and drop this on the eve of the anniversary. That was the already planned memorial. And we went to the gravesite on Sunday. Mrs. Carr had about 20 mothers from around the country. Mother Michael Brown from Ferguson, Mother Sean Bell and all. We had no idea the day after they would drop this on them.
The Justice Department was saying the final decision ultimately rested with Attorney General Barr. Can you reasonably
They said that the Attorney General Barr made the decision, we was told that, and that he gave his sympathy, and the family said that they were not interested in his sympathy.
Did you have a reasonable expectation that this Justice Department would...
No, we did not have a reasonable expectation that this Justice Department would do the right thing. The last Justice Department should have. But we had a reasonable expectation that they would not desecrate the anniversary of Eric's death. There is no statute of limitations. They did not have to announce this today. This is like to slap the family in the face. On the eve of the anniversary, on the day after they went to the cemetery, there was no reason they had to make this announcement today.
Reverend, how quickly do you expect the mayor and the police commissioner to reach their conclusion?
We have called on them to make the conclusion right away. There's nothing standing in the way.
But all the time, the mayor has said consistently he was waiting for justice.
Well, justice has been choked. Lady Justice has been choked like Eric Garner. Now it's time for them to make their move.
Is there any reason that you think that the disciplinary hearing is going to result in his termination? What have you...
You don't even need a disciplinary hearing to fire him. But if you have already had it, expedite, come with your judgment. You're not going to hear any more than you already heard. This will only give wiggle room for Mr. Attorney London to try and get another hearing saying now he wants to testify or he wants to resign and save his pension. We've said move now. That's the next move. Move now.
Can I ask this car question?
Yes.
Just wondering, how are you feeling today about where this is? What gives you any hope that you're going to find justice?
Well, I'm not feeling very good right now, but I still have hope. That was my son, and I'm going to be fighting for him. It is not over, as I said before, because they made their decision, and I'll make mine now.
Mr. Moore, can you clarify here? Because there's some back and forth about there's 5 years to bring these charges on a federal level. You're saying it's not. Clarify legally from how you look at this.
If you look at the federal statutes, so for violations of 18 U.S.C. 241, which is conspiracy to violate civil rights that results in a death, or 18 U.S.C. 242, which is a deprivation of rights under color of law, meaning police officers, that results in death, there is no statute of limitation. There's a general 5-year statute of limitation for most federal crimes. For these particular crimes, there is no statute of limitation. So these can be brought next year, 2 years from now, whenever. We will not stop until they bring charges against these officers.
All right, thank you very much.
We've been watching a press conference being held by Eric Garner's family and Reverend Al Sharpton. The family reacting to this decision by prosecutors to not file civil rights charges in the case of his death. Reverend Al Sharpton said this is not over. He called for NYPD Officer Daniel Pantaleo, who is accused of placing Garner in a banned chokehold, to be fired immediately. Members of Garner's family spoke, including his mother and daughter as well. They're also calling on Mayor de Blasio to fire Officer Pantaleo. They said that they are not done fighting against the failure of justice.